Hello and welcome to the Kaiju is in the Details, a chronological podcast of kaiju history. I'm Ian.
I'm Haru.
And this time, this is the beginning of the podcast about the beginning of the end. Haru, what'd you think of this movie?
It was so good, except maybe a little bit towards the end where it kind of dragged on, but like...
Well, it is an American sci-fi movie about giant insects, so yeah.
Yeah, but like, the vast majority of the movie is actually like surprisingly good and entertaining, and like there's lots of good writing and good characters, and it's a fun movie.
And like first up, like right off the bat, it starts with doo-wop. Can you say that about them? No, I don't think you can. This movie's fun.
Yeah.
If you've only seen this as a episode of Mystery Science Theater, I think you are actually kind of missing out on a movie a little bit, because like obviously you watch the movie when you watch Mystery Science Theater, but you don't really pay attention very much. I think this movie is actually like a pretty decent movie if you're not watching it being riffed and making fun of it. There's obviously some goofy stuff in it, but get over yourself. Goofy stuff is fine.
Yeah.
Like some of the effects in this one are not good, I would say. I would say not good is how I would put it. But if you're having fun, who cares?
That said too, like at least they're trying to go a slightly different route from like, you know, puppets or costumes, in that they're actually trying to use the actual bugs.
Yeah, so like in Tarantula, in this case we are using actual insects and screening them in, using a screening effect on them to put them in, except in some cases where we are literally filming the insects against a backdrop of a postcard. Did you notice that, Haru?
Yep. The bugs are climbing a 2D picture of
a literal postcard.
Chicago.
Yeah, so this one's a Chicago piece, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like...
Illinois mentioned. Yippee!
Yeah, heck yeah. My home state.
It's got a lot of Illinois in it, huh?
It does, and honestly, I appreciate it. Illinois needs more love.
So this is actually a Burt I. Gordon film. Burt I. Gordon is known for his B movies. But I think this is his first on the podcast. I don't think we've talked about Burt I. Gordon before. He's, like I said, he's known for his B movies, but I think this one is actually I think Burt I. Gordon is actually pretty good at making an entertaining film, if not something that's like particularly good to look at or like intellectually interesting in any way, shape, or form, right? He's good at making a nice drive-in theater flick that I'd much rather watch than them, frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, at least his female character actually feels like a goddamn character.
She is so well done, too.
She does kind of fade into the background towards the end, like the latter half of the film.
Yeah.
It's like we switch off on who the main character is, because she is definitely the main character in the first part of the movie.
Yeah, no, like she's the driving force behind the entire plot in the first half, and then
the scientist man
once we switch gears from trying to find out what is destroying everything into how do we stop the thing that's destroying everything, that's when we need the scientist to step in.
The beginning of the end posits that investigative reporting is a woman's job, but fighting giant insects is a man's job.
Yeah.
It's a strange one, right? It's hard to talk about in like a traditional sense, because like the different aspects of it are so different from each other. Like the film is very entertaining, especially for its era. But man, it doesn't look very good, and I don't think it has anything to say about anything.
Well, I think
it's got a little bit more to say than like I don't know. It's got something to say about atomic stuff, I guess. as a lot
So
of these
it's
films do.
it kind of touches a little bit on, like, kind of the dangers of experimental using science to make more food.
Yeah.
Eh,
I feel like this one feels very tarantula, except the tarantula obviously was like vitamins instead of atomic
yeah.
stuff. But like a lot of
Yeah.
people would compare it to them, I'm sure, but like I feel like it's more tarantula in some ways.
Yeah, and so, like, I guess at least another I don't know if I would really call this a theme necessarily, but it's something that kind of comes up in most kaiju films we've seen is, like, differing perspectives on, like, what the scientists think versus what the military thinks.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, the military does not come off looking great in this film.
yeah. They're like, "We're just gonna nuke Chicago because that's the easiest way to get rid of these bugs," and the scientists are like, "No, that's dumb. Why would you do that?
It's
Let me at least research."
yeah, it's like it's not really glazing the military like you might expect a film in this era to do.
Yeah.
They're kind of like bullheaded and stubborn.
I mean, one of the military characters literally just kind of has, like, that jock voice of, like, he does not come across as a very intelligent character.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, our leading character in this one, Peter Graves, who people might know from the biography channel if you ever watched that channel, um, way back when. Or you also might know him from like other films. He was in a lot. Very prolific actor. Uh, Pretty decently charming, I would say. I feel like he does a decent job here.
yeah.
Our leading lady is Peggy Castle. Peggy Castle, mainly known for B movies, and like that's a shame because she's fantastic.
Yeah, she does such a good job in this one.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah.
her filmography is not particularly long and not particularly interesting. Like there's not a lot here. Jesse James Woman or Women plural. Invasion
Ah.
USA. This is actually one of her last films. Uh,
Huh.
the fourth to last film that she was in. She stopped in 1958. She continued doing TV roles for a little while, which means like she didn't stop acting. She just stopped getting hired.
Mm,
Uh, it's rough out there for women in Hollywood in 1950.
yeah. It's a shame because, like, I really think she did a good job in this one.
Yeah, but she like plays a leading lady instead of like with an agency of her own instead of a wilting flower who can
Yeah.
be protected by men. We've got Morris Ankrum back once again, playing the General John Hanson,
Mhm.
and Thomas Brown Henry from 20 Million Miles to Earth, once again playing military brass as the Colonel Sturgeon of the Illinois National Guard.
Heck yeah.
I thought he was fun until he wasn't in the
Yeah.
movie anymore because he got eaten by locusts. I assume.
Yeah.
I assume that's what the implication is by him not showing up in the movie anymore. Is that he got eaten by locusts. This film's about locusts, by the way. If you didn't know already, it's about locusts. But you watched the movie, didn't you? Didn't
Yeah,
you?
please go watch the movie.
There's a point in the movie, and a lot of these movies, especially the insect attack ones, the giant insect attack movies, have this a lot. And I think it's mainly because it might be because them did it, and the other ones are copying, or it might be because something else I'm going to mention after I explain. But it has this section in the middle where the scientist lead character explains to the government brass and the military brass why the insect that they're talking about is not scary as it normally is, but if you grew it to giant proportions, would absolutely be scary.
Mhm.
And I just think it is kind of a sign of a insecure filmmaker a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll find my locust scary.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is though, like there is like they even mention it during that scene that like there is the historical precedent for locust swarms causing tons and tons of devastation and
Yeah,
like
they mention biblical times, and we love mentioning
yeah.
biblical times.
So like literally like humanity kind of has an ingrained superstition when it comes to locust swarms, and yet the director or writer or whoever for some reason decides that like we need to establish that this monster is scary.
And one thing about it is that like it also lets you pad out the movie a little bit with some stock footage.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least in this one, unlike any of the previous ones, it actually establishes the way that they deal with the insects.
Mhm.
Like they lay the seed, they plant the Chekhov's gun of the settlers driving the locust into the ocean, which then comes up later
Yeah.
for them to use as their scheme of driving the locust into the ocean to kill them.
Yeah. Well, in this case it was the lake.
Right, lake in this case. Ain't
But
no ocean
yeah.
in Chicago.
Yeah, like they set up this whole thing of like, way back when the good old settlers, they drove the locusts away, and then it eventually comes up later as not only part of the plot, but, like, how they solve their problem.
Mm-hmm. And I think that makes this a smarter movie in some ways than a lot of the other insect attack films. Um, and the reason why I keep comparing this to other insect attack films is that that's what other critics do, and I think that they're doing it negatively, and I think they're wrong. I think this is actually better than them. It looks worse than
Mhm.
them. I'll be completely honest with you. It does look worse
Yeah.
than them. But I'm having fun with it. It's fun. Them is just nothing. It's boring.
Yeah. Also, the selection of insect here as our kind of antagonist. Like I've mentioned a few times in the past where we have a a bug as our kaiju, and it's like, well, they made it make a noise, but bugs don't usually make noise. Well, here's like I'm pretty sure this is like actually the noise that locusts make.
Yeah, like, but the one thing is, locusts usually make this noise. I'm pretty sure, at least, by rubbing their legs on their
Yeah.
wings. So I don't see the locusts doing that. In fact, they're moving forward, so they wouldn't be able to. But I'll give them a
Yeah.
pass. That is the noise locusts make.
Yeah, like yeah. But yeah, so like it's for once we're actually using the actual sound of the animal instead of
Hmm.
just generic bug sound dot j dot mp3 or whatever.
Yeah. So this film is inspired by an H.G. Wells novel called "The Food of the Gods and How It Came to Earth," often just shortened to "The Food of the Gods." Um, this is like something that Bert I. Gordon is obsessed with. He like does it several more times. Um, people in general just keep liking to make this novel into adapted works. Um,
Hmm.
so Bert I. Gordon will go on, like, obviously we have this beginning of the end. Bert I. Gordon will go on to make Village of the Giants, which is also inspired by Food of the Gods. He's gonna literally make a movie, Food of the Gods. Um, there's also like Night of the Lepus. Um, and I think there's a rat one too that's also inspired by Food of the Gods. It's just like it's a story about like small things eating things that make them big things, and then like that's like they're taking that and they're making that like into a like not even just like a genre, like an archetype of giant monster movie.
Hmm.
The Food of the Gods, like if we're going by gaming parlance. Yeah, this film's like a Food of the Gods, like.
Yeah.
I don't know why Bird Eye Gordon in particular has done so many of these, but it is that's just what he's done. I don't know. This was done by Paramount, by the way. This is when American Broadcasting Company United Paramount Theaters merged. At that point, called AMPAR or ABPT. So
Hmm.
Paramount on the scene here, doing some stuff.
Okay.
What do you think of the music in this one?
I liked it. Uh,
Yeah, it's like fine.
like,
It's perfectly serviceable.
yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, the music itself is a little bit generic, but
Yeah.
like,
So is every other American sci-fi movie.
yeah, but like, it's well placed when it needs to
Mm.
be. Like it plays into suspense when it needs to, and it plays into yeah, it really helps set the mood.
How versed are you on classical music, Haru?
Um, a little bit. I've dabbled in it,
Do you know
and
a piece called Mars, the Bringer of War from the Gustav Holst suite, Planet Suites?
the suite sounds very
Yeah, the
familiar.
Planet Suite. It
Yeah,
goes a little something like ba 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 bum 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 ba 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 bum bum ba ba bum.
yeah,
Did you hear that in the piece when the locusts were invading
yeah.
Chicago?
Okay, yeah.
There it was a very clear reference. It wasn't actually Mars Bringer of War. They just used that rhythm pattern.
Mhm,
Mars Bringer of War is a really interesting piece because it's in 5/4, which most pieces are in 4/4. Adds
mhm.
extra beat to the bar, which makes for some really interesting syncopation. A lot of times in that kind of music, you usually have to think of things as like 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 instead of 1 2 3 4 5 because the brain just doesn't like that so much.
That's that's really fascinating, and, like, one of my favorite time signatures is, like, 7/8, which
Hmm.
is kind of a similar way that you
Yeah.
have to count it. It's just like you have to add an extra 1 2 in there, but like it's still kind of like the same sort of like go like up and down with the rhythm.
Hmm.
So yeah, that yeah, that's really neat.
It's neat. I think the music is perfectly fine, but I did appreciate that little musical reference to Mars Bringer of War, especially considering
Hmm.
this film is attempting to have this like apocalyptic feel. They really want you to think that like these to think of these locusts as like an enemy combatant, which like almost makes me wonder if this is a little bit of a Red Scare picture. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit.
Yeah,
Like it's trying to evoke because we do talk about the Korean War a lot in this film. Our uh, our
yeah,
leading lady journalist is like known for her work in the Korean War, which like all the generals and stuff are very positive about her work. So I wonder like.
yeah.
There was some pretty nasty shit in the Korean War, lady. Were you what were you reporting on? Um,
Yeah.
it is very evocative of war, and it definitely is trying to bring to mind the Korean War, which like
Hmm.
this is 57, right? The Korean
Yeah.
War is like the current conflict. Like that's their Vietnam right now because they haven't had Vietnam, at
Yeah.
least not as far as they know. They don't know that they've had Vietnam yet.
Yeah, you make a good point with that. And yeah, really like this. I mean, from the very beginning, with the National Guard being the choice, because like we so often see just like just regular police cars doing the blockade, but
Hmm.
like they actually employed the National Guard here. And like the very first scene we see where they're fighting the locusts really seemed just like a war scene.
Yeah, yeah. Like they literally have a war scene where they're using like just stock footage from war movies.
Mhm.
A lot of stock footage in this film, I will say. But I think it's all pretty well used.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you use stock footage in a movie, it looks really janky and disjointed, and it does look janky and disjointed here, but I think it could have been a lot worse, and I've seen a lot worse for this podcast specifically.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's kind of what could be said about a lot of the aspects of this movie is that, some of it's a little janky, but it could have been so much worse, and they actually did a fairly good job with what they had at hand.
Did we watch King Dinosaur for the podcast? I don't remember if we did King Dinosaur for this one.
We did.
That was the first Bird Eye
Yes,
Gordon.
yes,
Then
we did.
that was the first Bird Eye Gordon, because that was him too. We did not like that movie.
Nope.
This one's much better.
That was another one where he used like an actual animal.
Yeah, no, same technique here of filming the actual animal and then using a matte, doing the screening effect. And he used the same technique to get him to move the way he wanted to, blowing air at them. He purchased 200 non-hopping, non-flying live grasshoppers in Texas. That's the reason why they mentioned that the larger ones didn't, like, their wings atrophied from being so big. It's because he got non-flying ones. Because at the time they had seen an outbreak of species of exceptionally large locusts apparently in Texas. So he got 200 of them. He brought them to California for filming because, of course, he's filming in California. That's why you see mountains in the distance in Chicago or in Illinois.
Yeah.
When he attempted to bring them to California for filming, state agriculture officials required that every single one of the animals be inspected and sexed.
Okay.
He described his efforts. Here's a quote from him. "I had to get my grasshoppers from Waco, Texas. They had the only species large enough to carry focus of the camera. I could only import males because they didn't want the things to start breeding. They even had someone from the agriculture department or someplace like that come out to take a head count or wing count. The grasshoppers turned cannibalistic." So if you're wondering why he knew that they turned cannibal when they lacked food, that was from personal experience.
Yeah.
That they mentioned that in the film, even. Gordon kept the grasshoppers in a box for only a few days, but during that time, the grasshoppers devoured one another until only 12 were left.
Jesus.
Gordon considered building miniatures for the grasshoppers, but it was deemed too expensive. This is like an ultra low budget thing. They're estimating, like, the estimated average cost of a PT picture of the era was $300,000. For reference, the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms cost $400,000. Them was just under $1 million. And like a movie like The War of the Worlds, that was a $2 million. The original World of Wars was a $2 million. So
this is fairly low budget.
Yeah, it's a decently low budget. It could be lower budget, but it's decently low budget. So yeah, instead of that, he used photographs of Wrigley Building and other noted Chicago landmarks and filmed the grasshoppers moving on top. When the monsters were supposed to be wounded or killed by gunfire, he tipped the photograph and the grasshoppers slid down it. But you know what? They actually kind of look good. The shots look good until the grasshoppers move a little bit too far away from the building.
Yeah.
But they're very careful to cut around that for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, oftentimes you'll see a grasshopper about to walk off a building, and then it cuts right there.
Yeah, it's not a perfect effect, but for what they're trying to do,
it's incredible.
It's well done.
It's, like, really well done for, like, what it is. Like, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool low-budget filmmaking.
Also, you mentioning earlier about how they turn cannibalistic, that actually kind of reminded me of, like, when they mentioned that in the movie, I'm like, oh, that's how they're gonna do it. They're gonna turn them against each other.
Like the killer shrews.
Yeah. But no, that did not end up happening.
Yeah, no, they just kind of dropped that in because I think they only drop it in because it happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's kind of scary, isn't it? But yeah, this film, like we said, it's got a little bit to say about like atomic stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really not saying much of anything at all about anything. Like we start out with like a media blackout. Our main character is a journalist, so you're like, okay, so they're gonna be like anti-media blackout, but then she just kind of goes along with it, just to make sure she gets a scoop on everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And they do lift it really quickly too. Things do move at a pretty brisk pace.
Yeah.
And then they have this like this agriculture department experiment, like American agriculture department experiment, where they're using radioactive material to grow plants bigger. Also, real quick while we're here, their explanation of how this works makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
So they're explaining it. The way it works is that they're using radiation to keep the plants photosynthesizing day and night instead of only photosynthesizing when the sun is up. Haru, how are you familiar with how photosynthesis works?
More or less. I mean, I learned about it in like high school.
Do you know what kind of things activate photosynthesis?
Sunlight.
Yeah, sunlight, and not even all of sunlight.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, well, there are like certain specific heat lamps you can get that kind of help. It's not as quite as good as like using the actual natural sun, but like they kind
mhm.
of serve a similar purpose.
So chlorophyll is able to photosynthesize using photons, hence the term photosynthesis,
Hmm.
which is specifically solar radiation from 400 to 700 nanometers that they're able to absorb. There's other uh, chloroplasts, I believe is the term. There's other types of bodies inside plants that allow them to do other ranges of light. But they're very specifically only able to absorb that specific kind of radiation. Random ass radiation isn't going to photosynthesize the plants.
Hmm. I feel like we're kind of straying into the same level of pseudoscience as uh equating estrogen proteins from soy uh, as estrogen proteins that your body can actually turn into estrogen.
Yeah, no, it's like, oh, they're the same thing. So they have the same name. Solar radiation is radiation. So obviously you could just feed it radiation and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Soy estrogen, it says estrogen right there. But ignoring that, it doesn't really matter that much. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's a science fiction
yeah, it's
movie.
like, whatever. That's what gets our like bugs rolling because some bugs happen to get in and eat it. I love that the
Mhm.
bugs are getting in and eating it, and they're just kind of like, ah, shucks. Like before they realize that it's made the mutant locust outside that just ate an entire town, they really just kind of go like, ah, shucks. Look at all these snails in here.
Yeah,
Where's the giant radioactive snails, huh?
that's gonna be our sequel.
the the middle of the end.
Yeah. Um,
And then we have the end of the end, which is the Beatles.
yeah, it's kinda interesting how, like, they even make a point, like, in in our main scientists, like, where he relates to the whole science experiment, like, she realizes, "Wait a minute, you're an insect scientist. What are you doing with plants?" And he's like, "Well, insects have a lot to do with plants." And so, like, they're doing all these experiments on plants, and it never once occurred to them that maybe it would affect insects too?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I guess insects don't photosynthesize, and that's all they're doing, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know. It's strange. They just like, and like it's just also like, oh, our fucking experiment is being breached constantly by insects. No problem.
Hmm.
Not a problem at all. Um, and like, but like, it doesn't really comment much on that either, right? It doesn't have much to say about atomic stuff, but it does have the occasional
Yeah.
thing, right? It has the occasional thing coming up, like our lead scientist is talking to a reporter lady, and is like, by the way, they don't say their names very often.
Hmm.
I don't remember their names at all. They don't stick into the brain for some reason.
Yeah,
um,
same. Kind I remember at least once when they mentioned her name, and I don't remember what it was.
so Peter Graves is saying, is talking about how, we're all kind of sheltered from nuclear stuff, and then she like points to his lab partner who was like made deaf and mute by radiation, which like that's not what radiation does, but okay.
Yeah.
No signs of radiation burns or poisoning on him at all, but it made him deaf and mute. Whatever. Anyways, so she looks at him and is like, sheltered. Look what happened to Frank. And
Hmm.
she has like a lot of one-liners like this.
This movie has a lot of pretty solid one-liners, I think.
She's got another one where she's like, some people use calendars to keep age. I could use ruins to keep mine, because of
Yeah.
her like work in Korea. So she's like this like world weary reporter.
Yeah, like she just kind of starts going into her backstory when they're driving, and it's like, okay, yeah, no, her story actually kind of goes hard. Like this girl has seen some shit.
Mm-hmm. But we also get another Adam comment. One of the soldiers, like when they're looking for the locusts because they haven't determined that they exist yet, at least to the military. One of the soldiers is like skeptically going, "Well, they blame these days. They blame the atom for everything."
Yeah.
So there's this interesting like there's like a little bit here. It's like somebody wanted to say something but not too much.
I it, I read that like I read into that comment as just furthering the disparity between the scientists and the military.
Mm-hmm.
Like the military is extremely skeptical about there even being these giant locusts in the first place. I mean,
And
who
they're
wouldn't
also like
be? But
skeptical
like,
of the bad nature of the bomb because the bomb is their baby. It's like what they use to maintain their
yeah,
supremacy.
yeah, and like, so I think honestly, I think that is one of the bigger, less discussed conflicts in the movie is the conflict between science and military.
Mm-hmm.
And like they kind of have different objectives.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like the movie's not on science's side necessarily either, because they're the ones that cause it in the first place.
Yeah, like yeah, because like in the very start of all this, like if we weren't experimenting on vegetables with radiation, then none of this would have happened in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But there doesn't seem to be any like that never actually gets directly addressed. Like there is no actual consequence other than Chicago being invaded by giant locusts.
Yeah,
There's
like
no
so many people die actually.
yeah.
It's like so
But like
many people die off
there
screen
like
though, completely.
yeah, but like no one addresses the fact that this all goes back to the fact that they were experimenting on vegetables with radiation in the first place.
Yeah, nothing comes of it for. I guess Frank does get eaten by a locust very quickly in
Yeah.
Way to have it's interesting. This movie is like way more woke than a lot of other movies of the era, right? We've got
Hmm.
a like a deaf mute person that does sign language, and we just do that. Like there's nobody
Yeah.
says shit about him. He's just like a character. He's a respected scientist. He's not
Hmm.
like some henchman.
Yeah.
Uh, and we've got a woman who's like a person,
Yeah.
a real human being. And but also we do immediately kill off the deaf mute person as soon as
Yeah.
available.
Maybe that's why they killed him off, because they didn't want to give the guy any lines, or no, not why they killed him off. Why he was deaf and mute in the first place is
Didn't
because
want to
they
give
didn't
him
want to give him
lines.
lines, and they knew they were going to kill him pretty quickly. So
Does does doing sign language count as having lines for the purposes of guaranteed pay? I don't know. I like it
good
should today at least,
question.
but like in the 50s did it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't actually know the answer to that.
Another interesting thing, if we're talking about themes here, is so at the end of the film, of course, we have the classic dilemma of you got to find a way to kill the monsters in time, or we're gonna nuke them instead. It's just a
Yeah.
classic dilemma in the giant monster movie. And we're gonna see that from here into eternity, right? Like
Hmm.
we're gonna be seeing that all the way in 2016 at the very least. And as part of this, we have like a discussion about it. Of course, we have to the scientists arguing about it, because again, this movie is about scientists coming to headbutting military guys. But like one thing our reporter lady says is like they're like, okay, what about the lives? You're gonna kill so many people, and they're like, actually, we're gonna evacuate Chicago. Actually,
Yeah.
we're just gonna evacuate Chicago. It'll be fine. And they don't mention at all the downwind, because I don't even know how much they know about the downwind effects of nuclear weapons at this point.
Yeah.
I think they would have known, but I don't know how much they know. You know what I'm saying?
Also, there's no way they were gonna they managed to evacuate the entire population of Chicago in, like, 24 hours or whatever.
It's a
Like,
lot. Uh, maybe they could. It depends on how many people are driving into Chicago, as we saw in the stock footage. Oopsie.
yeah.
They tried really hard to show only people driving out of Chicago, but they did show a few people driving in while the other ones were driving out. And I was like, oopsie.
Well, those were the people that forgot something at home. They forgot they left the stove on.
Yeah, they had to go turn that off, or else maybe they'd burn down the entire city. And then what are they saving the city for, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
in
Chicago's already had one big fire.
with that though, like they're like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be tough, but you maybe could do it if you got enough military down there, and they have apparently the entire U.S. military in Chicago at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily need. It doesn't necessarily need to have to be military. Just people organizing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm an
Yeah.
anarchist. Obviously, I'm not going to say it just has to be military organized, but you need to have somebody organizing it to do it, right?
Mhm.
But after this is rebuffed with the we already I got evacuated everyone. Our reporter lady says, "What about the property? That's millions of dollars of property there."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What about the property?
Like, we're literally talking about
The
like,
beginning of the
the
end."
end this is the end times here. If the locusts manage to spread and destroy city after city, there's nothing left of humanity, but, like, okay.
Like like it's so strange to worry about the millions of dollars of property. Who's gonna buy it? The fucking locusts? Not to mention the locusts are already destroying it anyways.
Yeah.
Obviously we know in the present times that we shouldn't nuke Chicago because then the entirety of the Midwest would be a nuclear hellscape.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't know that. They were nuking Utah to hell and back, and they ended up killing John Wayne with it. Rest in piss. So I don't know. I don't think it really the property values matter that much.
Yeah.
Speaking of clearing Chicago though, there's a lot of stock footage in here of Chicago empty. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
God, what movie did they get? What kind of budget did you have to get to clear Chicago for filming back then?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're at touristy spots, I think, or more
Yeah,
bustling areas.
there's a few of them.
And it's like, wow, how did you get this area cleared? How much money did you pay for that? And clearly they didn't, because I saw some of the same footage twice. It's just the second time they overlaid
Mm-hmm.
grasshoppers over it.
Maybe they just filmed Chicago. Maybe they just got the footage from when the Chicago Cubs last won the World Series in '08 or whatever, and so everyone was at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. What else you got?
I'm trying to think. I had a lot to say about this movie, but the opener, just little small comment here. The opener, we have a very classic couple making out in the car about to have sex when they get killed by a giant monster.
Listening to
That was
doo-wop.
fun. Yeah.
Did you notice that? Obviously they pointed this out, but did you notice the weirdness of the fact that they ate the entire woman but left her scarf? How?
I did not notice that,
They
but
pull out her scarf and it's all bloody and shit, and they're like, oh, here's a lady's scarf, and it's like, how did they eat the woman and leave the scarf? Did they spit it out later, like Garfield spitting out chicken bones? What the fuck? They got nimble teeth.
oh yeah, just another small comment. This movie is all over, and it's probably because of the very low budget. It is all over that amazing effect where they're driving in a car and it's just a screen behind them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like basically every single scene where they're driving, which I love that, honestly. That's one of my favorite kind of janky special effects.
Mm-hmm. We love some Toons as the driving cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does the scientist know how to shoot a gun as good as he does?
Well,
he just picks
he's
it
in
up.
America.
Pick it up like fucking machine guns and Tommy guns and not reacting to the recoil at all. Damn, dog. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, remember when they got back from the lady going to the town and seeing it was completely destroyed and taking pictures. First off, very strange montage where they have they've overlaid a semi-transparent image of her taking the pictures and then over top of the destruction. It's very weird.
Mm-hmm.
A very strange montage. But then they immediately get back, and the guy who took her starts hitting on her immediately. He's like, "Hey, what do I get a drink to put away the horrors?
Yeah.
Get the horrors out of your mind." And then she's like, she doesn't even respond to him. Is the best part. She's just like, "How could that happen? How does the entire town get destroyed like that?" She doesn't even give him the dignity of a response.
Yeah.
It's kind of awesome.
She's genuinely such a fun character.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I like that the scene where the our scientist lead Peter Graves explains the locusts to the military brass. Like immediately afterward, they're like, "Oh, the Illinois National Guard is destroyed. I guess I was
mhm.
wrong." Immediately,
Yeah.
it looks like I was proven wrong immediately after I said it. Damn, timing. If he just waited a second, he could have been not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, and I love how they figure out the right frequency to lure the locusts into the lake, which is kidnapping a locust.
Yeah.
They fucking kidnap a locust and polygraph it. Do you think do you think polygraphs they don't work on people, like they're pseudoscience. Do you think they work on
Yeah.
locusts though? What if they just like really worked on locusts and they could tell locusts were lying?
Hmm. I mean, th it's worth a shot.
We gotta try it. We need to know.
It's for science.
I also it's just so good. The kidnapping is like they gas it and then bring it. They kidnap it, take it away, and put it in a cage.
Mhm.
They're doing locust trafficking on this shit. It's so funny. This is such a more joyful movie than them.
Yeah. Oh, another possible way that I was predicting that they might deal with the locusts was when they were discussing how they kinda they hibernate when it gets cold, and
Hmm.
then if they're exposed to cold for an extended period of time, then they die.
Yeah,
I was thinking that they were gonna do something with that, like
I'm
some kinda
so glad they
liquid
don't.
nitrogen or yeah, like
Because I like the way they handle it. I like the way they deal with it. It's like it feels real in a way, a lot more real.
and it feels poetic because of the whole relating it back to
Mm-hmm.
and
Driving
if
out to
and
sea.
also and also if anything else, it's also just, like, a more, I guess, scientific way of dealing with them instead
Mm-hmm.
of just inventing a new weapon.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It kind of does lean its way towards science as like the winning out over military, especially since the
Yeah.
what is it the thing the atomic bomb doesn't end up going off
Mhm.
like they end up canceling the atomic bomb mission in favor of the driving out the sea idea.
Yeah. Maybe 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 part of the message the movie is trying to say is that scientists are a better option for solving their own mishaps than letting the military deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it's trying to say?
Maybe.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
also like about the ending, I do feel like the ending dragged on a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it didn't need to take as long as it did. Um,
There's like one moment where they could have literally just cut it out and it wouldn't have changed anything. But I understand that they were trying to use that moment to build suspense. It's like where they didn't quite have all
yeah.
the locusts in the right location.
Yeah, and
Like you could have taken that out with no problem. But also I understand that part built suspense. Honestly, the worst part was waiting to get to the point where they do the plan to get rid of the locusts.
yeah. And yeah, like it's another case of I can honestly just kind of forgive it for taking a little bit longer to finish out the movie because it did add to the tension.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of knew that okay, they have this figured out. Now they're gonna deal with the locusts and it's gonna be a happily ever after. I just have to wait for them to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but like especially especially during the part where they were still kind of trying to research like what frequency they needed to get the locust to move into the lake.
Mm,
Like, that took a bit of time, but it I would say it was, like, maybe on the upper threshold of not overstaying its welcome. Like,
mhm,
if that whole scene had lasted a few minutes longer where they were still not quite finding the right frequency, I would have gotten so bored of it, but, like, it was kinda just within that threshold of where I could still feel a little bit interested.
yeah. It was definitely on the verge, but no, I think it's generally pretty decent as far as that goes.
Mhm.
One thing that did bother me a little bit is that this whole movie, the locusts are like basically immune to gunfire
Mhm.
until exactly the point where they need them to not be immune to gunfire anymore.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you could just kill them with a couple of guns.
Yeah, like, in the very first military shootout, like,
It was like,
the
why are the
National
soldiers even
Guard.
here? They're not doing anything. They're barely being killed by tanks.
Yeah, the National Guard is just being driven off by these giant locusts, and maybe the implication is that there's, like, too many of them, and so
Maybe
they're just being overrun,
it's
but
hard because like
yeah.
they only have 12 locusts.
Yeah,
It's hard to make it look like there's that many.
um, yeah, but I think they do well, like, so yeah, this is something that I meant to mention. This when they do the screening effect with the locusts,
Hmm.
early on in the movie, they try to have as little possible time where there's like a person and a locust in the same shot.
Yeah. And this kind of leads to some pretty rough death scenes where people are just like standing there waiting for the locust to eat them and going, "Eh."
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the classic B movie character death of just screaming as the character I mean, as the camera goes into their face.
Yeah. Like I just is it just like a difference of a modern audience versus a late like a concurrent audience? Cuz like that just is like the worst to me. It just doesn't make it doesn't it's not good. Don't it doesn't look good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very strange. But you know what's not strange? That we're
Our
back.
sponsors.
Well, no. We don't have any sponsors. That we're back on our normal schedule.
Yay!
We were
I
off
am
for a fortnight, but now we're back for the fortnights.
Yeah,
We're
I'm
gonna
back,
Fortnite dance
and
all
so
over
we
you.
we can do more recording and stuff. If
Hooray!
if you hear my voice might sound slightly weird, it's because I'm coming off of having a cold. Yay.
Yippee! But we do have another episode next time, as at the usual time instead of later than that.
Yeah.
Next up, we got the black scorpion, so another giant insect, and
Ooh,
Ray Harryhausen. Are you ready
ooh,
for some stop motion animation?
that's a classic.
And then after that, we finally get to watch some more Toho films.
Heck yeah.
So, and if I remember correctly, the Black Scorpion is pretty fun too. And it's got Ray Harryhausen effects in it, so at least it has something interesting for us to look at.
Mhm.
So, should be smooth sailing for a little while until we hit. We got after Mysterians, we got Varan, so another Toho film, and then we have the American recut of Varan, which is going to be iffy, and then we got the
Mhm.
Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, and that brings us
Ah,
into Varan actually brings us into 1958. So we're actually finally getting out of 1957
okay.
very soon. But first, we got two more parts of 1957: Black Scorpion and the Mysterians. Next time, Black Scorpion. Exciting stuff. Any last words about our friend at the beginning of the end?
It's a fun movie. You listeners should totally watch it.
Definitely, it's good. And you know, if you end up not liking it, watch the Mystery Science Theater episode. It'll certainly help.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. You can check us out at thempodian, which is where our YouTube channel is, with all the other episodes there. You can, of course, also find it on any podcatcher of your choice. And that's where you're going to want to send your friends to when you recommend them this podcast, because that's the best way for podcasts to grow, is your recommendations. Much like every other movement ever, hearing people you trust recommend something to you is what gets you to do something. So, you know, if you want to help us out, make sure to share this with a friend, and you could like do a little listen party. Haru, where can people find you?
I am Haru Hayes. I'm a puppy girl VTuber on Twitch. I stream occasionally. I have not been streaming for the past month on my channel, but I hope to be back next week. I'm also on Blue Sky at haru.vspire.live, and I'm on Discord. Those are probably the three main places you can find me. I also do have a Tumblr that I have been using quite a lot lately, but that's less promotional stuff. But you can still find me there if you want to see some of the stuff I'm interested in.
Fair enough. And I am Thempire Ian. You can find me at Thempire Ian generally everywhere. Tomb of Thempire Ian for my Let's Plays and VODs. Thempire Ian for my Yu-Gi-Oh! And video essays, including the Godzilla vs. Evangelion video, which is very close to finished. I'm like 30 to 20 minutes away from finishing this last round of edits, and then I just got to add the music, and then we're done.
I am so excited for that, by the way.
Very close to done. I'm so close. This has been a nightmare project, but I'm very happy to get this out. You could also, of course, do Thempod Ian, where you would find this podcast here, which is the only podcast I have currently. And you can, of course, go to Yuri Riot, which is my music project. We had the release of Cheap Distractions, which you can listen to now everywhere: iTunes, Spotify, Bandcamp, anywhere you want. You can buy it, stream it, whatever you want to do.
That one's a real banger, by the way. You should check it out if you haven't.
It's the Kasane Teto joint. So if you like your Vocaloid, I know Teto's not a Vocaloid, but it's easier to say Vocaloid than V-synth, and then have people have to go like, okay, but a V-synth is like a Vocaloid, but it's not trademarked as by Cypro company, or whatever that's called. It's not like Cypro. That's the transgender hormones. No, that's Spyro, actually, which is also the dragon.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's Spyro, which is the American version, and then there's Cypro, which is the European version.
Oh, see, that's what it is I've heard enough European people say Cypro that it got in my head.
Yeah.
You freaks in Europe. No, I'm kidding. I love you. Well, I don't love you, but I love Europe. It's fine. It's a fine little place. Yeah, that's where you can find me. If you want a more comprehensive place, it's just thempireian.neocities.org, my website. Simple as. Are you ready to say goodbye to the locusts?
I guess.
I don't know what else to call them. They don't have a name. It's just the locusts. Sayonara, locusts.
Sayonara, locusts.
And this is the end of the podcast about the beginning of the end.